Come on, guys, what is the first rule of this podcast? Okay, yeah, respect the brackets, but what is the second rule of this podcast? Exactly, never stop talking about that song from that movie. Hot fudge.
On a Sunday?
Sunday is actually what I was looking for, yeah. Well done. Thank you for joining that song from that movie, the journey through the very best and worst of movie songs. I am your sticking feathers on my butt host, Dietrich, and today we're joined by Come Break Him Down, Bury Him, Alex.
Yep. Big 30 Seconds to Mars fan over here. Is that why you chose that?
Oh, yeah, the Jared Leto connection, yeah.
Are you still?
No, I haven't listened to them in a while. I did. What was the last album I had? The one after This Is War, which I can't remember the name of. That was the last one I listened to.
So a while ago.
Oh, we're talking a while ago. We're talking like 2014 or something. 7 years.
And we're also joined by When You Touch Him Like This and You Hold Him Like That. It's so hard to believe, but it's all coming back to him. Ben.
Bitch tits and all.
Beautiful.
Yep.
I mean, I'd prefer to be Meatloaf. Although, actually, I'd probably prefer to be Jared Leto, wouldn't I?
I was going to say, you'd rather be Meatloaf than Jared Leto. No, said no one ever.
I would rather have Meatloaf's voice.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Are you sure about that, Ben?
No, I'm not. I'm really not. We'll get rid of that now.
Okay, what have we been watching this week?
I did watch a film last week.
Proper film?
It was my week to look after my son, so as usual, I was watching Studio Ghibli films. And the one I watched this week was When Marnie Was There, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed, actually. I think it's probably one of the, in personal preference, it's probably one of the best ones, I think. It lacked kind of like that sort of like magic weirdness that maybe some of the other ones had, like Howl's Moving Castle and stuff, but I thought it was nice. I thought it was nice.
I think that's because it's it's not what's his face, Hayao Miyazaki.
Oh, is it not?
It's Hiromasa Yonebayashi, who's one of the newer ones. So yeah, I think all the mystical magical ones are usually Miyazaki, and most of the newer ones, because he is very, very old, and not him. Well, it doesn't exist at the studio anymore, I suppose.
Yeah, still based on an English novel though. Weird.
Yeah, and they do like that. I mean, there's a lot of Welsh inspiration in a lot of their films. I went to the cinema, which I am very happy about.
What?
I know.
What did you think of Fast and Furious 9?
I did not see Fast and Furious 9. I saw it there, filling up most of the screenings, either that or, what's his face, Black Widow. Now, I saw Another Round, the Thomas Vinterberg film. Any ideas what I'm on about?
No idea.
Okay. It's got Mads Mikkelsen in it.
Yes. No, I saw a review for this. Is it like a thing where like middle-aged men like go out for like one last sort of like crazy night out or something?
Well, they it's like they try and see what it'd be like if they just live their life where they're just always inebriated.
Right.
So they kind of just hit a level of just intoxication and try and hold that to see if it improves their life. It's a very, very, very good film.
Yeah,
and I would recommend if you can, stomach words coming up on your screen, climbing over that little. What is it? Was it
1 inch barrier?
There's the 1 inch wall. Bong Joon-ho called it. Yeah, it's very good.
Whilst I have finally given Arrested Development a proper go.
God, I haven't watched that since in about 10 years.
I'm currently in the midst of season 4, and it has gone off a cliff.
I can't remember what it had a big gap, didn't it? And then
I believe it's the first Netflix one.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even bother with those ones.
No, I never made it that far.
It's okay. I think the show is okay. But there's not much to watch on TV at the moment other than football. So I've got to find something to fill those gaps.
It's weird that by the time this come out, we'll know if it's come home or not.
Yeah, you've really dated it there. Obviously, it did come home, obviously.
God.
Can't believe we won 10-0.
All own goals as well. You would have thought it. So today's episode breaks the rules as we talk about Where Is My Mind by the Pixies from the movie Fight Club. So Ben?
Time for some history.
I love it every time. So let's go back to November 1999. So we have Y2K just around the corner, and with it a new millennia filled with catastrophic pandemics, celebrity politicians, and social media websites rewiring the brains of our youth just like the Jetsons predicted. Don't remember those episodes, but it's been a long time since I watched the cartoon. Anyway, in other news, Toka Bifta and partake in some sticky icky because Dr. Dre's confusingly titled album 2001 was released by Aftermath Records. Also known as The Chronic 2001, becoming 6 times certified platinum and one of the best-selling albums of the year. Alex, did you partake in this as a 8-year-old?
I'm sure the album's probably in the house somewhere, but
it probably was.
It was not owned by me.
I remember your cannabis leaf T-shirt in primary school.
Do you? I don't remember having a cannabis. I was going to say, don't quite remember that.
The Chicago Tribune at the time said that the album sounded fragrantly trite with its endless gangster babble. Indubitably, Chicago Tribune, indubitably. Apparently, not a lot of people liked that album because I don't know. I was trying to read the reviews and it didn't do too well with, I guess, the people that usually review music.
The people that count, the punters. It obviously worked for them. 6 times platinum, did you say?
Yeah. Yes, so I don't know how many that is. I don't know how that works in
a lot
sales. Okay, yep, there we go.
Did you find out what the opinion of the New York Times was?
They actually quite liked it.
Yeah.
There's a surprise.
And also, November 1999 was a great time to be a child at the cinema. Toy Story 2 dropped.
Nice.
The Pokemon movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, came out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. Do you remember that one?
No, I don't.
Nope.
Go and listen to the song by the Witches. Brilliant. And I'm pretty sure my dad fell asleep at 2 out of 3 of those films. And I didn't even force him to see Mary-Kate and Ashley's Passport to Paris. So he's lucky there.
I thought you meant like he wanted to go to that one.
I mean...
Or he went to it without you.
He went to it without me. Who knows? I always wondered why it was the Blu-ray edition was proudly sat upon our mantle. But for the grown-ups, they could also peruse in a healthy selection of The World Is Not Enough, Sleepy Hollow, and David Fincher's modern classic, Fight Club, which is the subject for today. For those unaware, Fight Club is based on the book by Chuck Palahniuk. It tells the story of a nameless man in the midst of insomnia and existentialism who, alongside a soap salesman and alpha male hero, Tyler Durden, they form something we're not supposed to talk about. But, wait, you already said it, didn't you?
Sorry.
Oh, dear. Well, we've broken 2 rules.
There's only 1 rule.
It's 2 rules. 2 rules, the same thing.
There are quite a lot of rules, though, aren't there? Because one of them is like, if it's your first night, you have to fight. There's like 5 or 6 rules.
There's 8 rules.
8 rules, okay.
And you know this, Alex, if you came to our Saturday meeting. He missed the punch and pie.
Yeah, I had punch and pie.
So yeah, that synopsis is a drastic oversimplification of this film. A lot of twist and turning narrative, overlaid, underlaid messages, metaphors sandwiched inside this film. Before I even touch upon any of that, what do we think of this one? Assuming we've all seen it.
Yes, I have seen it. And to me, this is the archetypal, very good, not great movie. But before Ben jumps in, because I know you can feel him like down the wire, I can feel it. Allow me to explain. So I only saw this movie for the first time maybe a couple of years ago.
Okay.
It was one of those films where I was talking about it with my wife and she went, "You've never seen Fight Club?" So I was then made to watch it. So I already knew all the main plot points and assuming we are talking about it,
yes,
the reveal of characters. Can I just say it?
Yep.
Spoiler alert?
Yep.
Brad Pitt's imaginary.
Just the actual real Brad Pitt is a figment of Hollywood.
Brad Pitt is imaginary.
He might be.
We all believed in him together, and then it came true.
What, like it or the Candyman?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the movie, it just didn't quite hit with me because I was already expecting all of these sort of major plot points.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, it's still very good, it's still quite compelling, but it's what stops me from saying great is that I wasn't able to experience the movie in its fullest. I imagine there's quite a lot of people in the same camp as me, people that have, oh god, this is sad to say, people born after the movie who are now adults.
Oh gosh, yeah, that is awful.
Yeah, but yeah, I assume there's quite a few people that think the same way, but yeah, it's very good.
I kind of have a sort of a similar response to it to you, D, because I did also see it later than probably most people. I mean, I think, first of all, I feel like this film is like truly one for like the hipsters. It's a bit of a posery film. Not that, and I want to preface this by saying also, like D did, that the film is good, and I do like this film. And I think the first time I watched it, I did really get like why everyone loved it so much. But I think it is the kind of film that people say is like their favourite film on like dating app bios and stuff. To sort of, because they think it makes them sound deep. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
100%.
Like people who said they've read Atlas Shrugged by Anne Rind. It's like, has anyone actually read that book? Because it's like 10,000 pages long. But anyway, side issue.
My favourite book is War and Peace.
yeah, it's just stuff like that, and it's just like, sure. But I do say this like a little bit knowingly, because I think like, I was kind of that way at university, especially. Like, you kind of latch onto things that sort of seem to be making a significant philosophical, social, political statement or something to compensate for like a lack of personality. Like, we've all done it. We've all done
God, I feel really targeted now.
What do you think this whole
We've
podcast
all done
is?
it. That is
as I'm wearing my Fight Club t-shirt.
Yeah. But like, I don't mean to like poke fun at people for that, because I do think that the film, it's kind of, it's funny because the film is making those kind of points, as does the book. But everyone sort of, but it's kind of obvious, do you know what I mean? It's not like it's hidden within it. It's like really clearly and openly making these points. And people sort of think it's like the deepest film of all time because it's got layers. You know, onions. Shrek has layers. But yeah, I think I've actually only seen this film once all the way through. And it was because we were studying, because this is where it all comes, we were studying Nietzsche. Literary critical theory at uni, and like this film came up because like it's sort of like a modern retelling of sort of like an Ubermensch story, like Thus Spoke Zarathustra, or whatever it's called. Yeah. And I did watch it and think, you know, this film is it's saying a lot about like dissociative society and consumerism and 30-somethings and Generation X, etc. But it's kind of like, I've never watched it again. So I think to me, that sort of says it all. It's not the kind of film that afterwards you're thinking about it a lot. I think it sort of like, you take everything in almost. That's kind of how I took it. Like, I didn't feel like there was so much depth to it that I had to watch it several times to be like, oh yeah, true. And maybe there is, but I didn't feel that way when I watched it. I didn't. If you're thinking about it like when you're going to sleep for like weeks afterwards, that's kind of a film that's really affecting, and I just don't put this film in that bracket, although I know some people possibly would.
What films have affected you in that way?
Oh god, I don't know if I can think of any off the top of my head. You put me on the spot here. Shrek.
In Time.
In Time.
That's one for me.
Yeah. Well, it's
wait, the Justin Timberlake film.
Yeah. It tests me, and I must destroy it.
I can't think of any recent examples, to be honest. But
no, I think I completely get you.
Yeah, you know the kind of thing that I'm saying, like where you'll watch film and you'll be like, oh, that kind of, I've been thinking about it non-stop for like weeks. Yeah. And actually, like I don't know if you guys have seen like the Bo Burnham Inside special, but literally it's been in my head for like, not just the songs, because the songs are amazing, but kind of a lot of the messages. And you know, there's sort of some crossover with this film in some ways, but I think that kind of did really affect me. Maybe it's just kind of when you watch it, like the kind of age you are, like what you're kind of thinking about at the time, and whether those messages are like aligned. And I think that maybe for some people this film probably was aligned to the way they were thinking at the time. Maybe I watched it too young or too early, I don't know, or too late. It one way or the other, I can't quite think. It's like when I read Catcher in the Rye, I had a very similar experience that loads of people, I kind of read it too late, so it didn't have the impact that it has on people, and I think a lot of people experience that with films. And I think that's kind of what you were saying, Dee, as well, that like maybe you just watched it out of time. I don't know. Do you still think it's a very good film? And I do like David Fincher films generally anyway.
Oh yeah. If you're expecting a film to impact you in a certain way, I think there's almost an element of you that is very aware of that and trying to fight it in some ways. You basically don't want to just fall into that, or I'm basically just like everyone else and I fall into that trap. You want to enjoy it, obviously, but I feel like you're very aware of what the film's trying to do. Whereas those films that I feel I've had that impact with, like you say, Alex, where I'm thinking about it for weeks, so I feel like it's impacted me to change something, are films I didn't expect to do that, or I wasn't really knowing what I was going in to see.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, isn't it? Yeah, it's the stuff that you don't expect to impact you that impacts you more, almost. Yeah,
catches you off guard.
100%. I mean, the same as you guys. I like this film. I don't love it. I preferred it the second time round in a similar way to Alex was saying. I guess as I have read stuff as I've gotten older in like sociology, psychology, or Nietzsche. I've kind of seen that stuff in a film and I found that more interesting, whereas watching it as a 17-year-old, where I just kind of liked it on a surface level. And interesting, this film wasn't very loved critically. It has 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it has a 66 out of 100 on Metacritic. That's not great.
That's much lower than I was expecting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because like its IMDb rating is quite high, isn't it? It's like 8.
It's 10th highest of all films in IMDb's 250 greatest of all time.
Wow, what a shift.
Exactly, I know. So clearly the public latched onto this film in a certain way.
Much like Dr. Dre's album, Chronic.
the links, I'm there for them. Like I said, I think as an 18, 19-year-old when I saw this, I was looking for a cool film that looked cool, and people might find me cool if I said this film was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I think that does beg the question, though. Who had the poster on the wall?
You know what?
I
remember going to a lot of, I think, around our time, and I think because, again, I think if you were an undergrad, college grad at this time, you would have probably had this poster. Whereas I think for us, I knew a lot of people at my university who had a poster of the Joker.
Oh, yeah.
And I think in a way, Tyler Durden and what is taken of the Joker are quite similar.
Definitely.
It's those like anarchistic going against the mold, fighting against consumerism.
It's funny, isn't it? Because like people sort of hold Durden and Joker as like neo-truths, like something to live by. But I think it's funny because when you watch the film, it does debunk that idea, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the hilarious part of it. It's ironic that so many people, and I think it's quite funny because you'll see Tyler Durden in so many movie lists as like one of the greatest characters of all time, and people love him because of those quotes. Yet he basically develops like a fascist sort of society.
It goes too far.
Yeah, he goes too far, and he develops exactly the same of what their consumerist society was before, just within his mold. And I guess that's the thing. It's, fascism and capitalism are just two sides of the same coin. But people just love Tyler Durden because he's cool and suave, and he has these lines, and he's always got something to say, and he says it so eloquently and well put. And he's Brad Pitt. He's attractive. He's obviously in this film ripped to the shit.
He is so hot in this movie.
Yeah, and I think, like I say, men love to want to be him. Kind of like alpha male. He's like the Joe Rogan society. These people, like, they love this film and love it for that side of things. I guess what he's trying to say about masculinity. I think Chuck Palahniuk said that there's only 2 films that kind of give a social model for men. That there's a lot of films about how women should behave kind of in a group society, but he said there's only 2 films that do it for men. One's Fight Club and the other's Dead Poets Society. Now, I see what he's saying, and I try to have a think, and I guess it's very pigeonholing men. And I think this film, does that in a way of the classic sort of male archetype. But I see what he's getting at, and clearly it did resonate with a lot of people at the time, and probably still does. But yeah, I find it funny that people seem to like it because it's deep, but don't actually understand the actual depth in how they like it. And it's quite ironic in sometimes that they just, they think it's cool as a Fight Club and Tyler... Yeah. And all the things he's doing, fight the system, when actually he's just developing his own system. And let's leave the sort of sociology, Nietzsche and all that stuff, because that could go on for days.
Could go forever, couldn't it? You could analyse this film for a long time in that.
Oh, yeah.
That sociology from that movie.
Yeah, just go on YouTube, you'll find about 1 million videos looking at different other things. Want some quick facts?
Go for it.
Yes.
There's a Starbucks coffee cup in every scene.
Interesting.
Is there?
Apparently so. David Fincher said there's a nod. That's like, I guess, the nod to consumerism again.
Is that so? It wasn't like in Game of Thrones where there was just like...
No, it's not an accidental. Someone keeps leaving. Rosie O'Donnell, someone I always know but not know what for, famously went on her TV show a week before the film was released and said that she'd seen a screening of it and she didn't like it. So on her show, she told everyone the ending and said, "Don't go." A week before the film came out.
God, she seems like a nice person.
Which is, she had a big show. Yeah. And Fincher talks about it on the commentary and just like how astonished he was that she did that.
That is mind-boggling that someone did that.
I know. Imagine doing that like in a huge movie that's about to come out. And someone, like, it was the biggest film on its week of release, and someone just spoils it before it's even out.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that knowing the twist ruins the film or anything, but I mean, it is a part of it, isn't it? Like, it is.
It's massive.
Part, yeah. Like that, that does change up the last sort of like 20 minutes of the film or whatever.
The 6th rule of Fight Club is broken during the film. Do you know what the rule is, and do you know by who?
Is it about wearing shirt?
It is, yes.
It's not that one.
It is that one,
yeah.
It is
that one. Oh, someone wearing clothes.
Yep, Meatloaf.
Right. Oh,
Meatloaf fights because he has, I'm air quoting this, bitch tits, as it calls it in the film, because he was wearing a fat suit underneath, because he'd met a testicular cancer support group. So for some reason, his lack now of testosterone had made him grow breasts, and so in order to hide the fat suit, he kept the shirt on during his fights.
Right.
There you go. So, Dee's kind of done the spoiler. It's kind of important, especially
Sorry,
when
guys.
we're moving to talking about the song. So yeah, Tyler Durden is the same as Edward Norton's nameless narrative character. He's not really given a name. They're two parts of the same person. Shock. My wife got this within 30 minutes of me asking her to watch it. I was quite surprised.
Are they the same person? Oh.
Yeah.
It is really obvious when you watch it back.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think she knew there was a twist, and you're looking for it, and I think it's different if you don't know there's a twist.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, the film climaxes to a point where Edward Norton's character puts a gun to his head, attempts to blow the Brad Pitt part of himself away, leaving one whole person, albeit quickly losing blood. Alongside Helena Bonham Carter's character, Marla, who's the love interest. They watch from a skyscraper as buildings around them begin to explode. Tyler Durden's Project Mayhem, which is this sort of anarchistic, anti-society terrorist group, basically, destroys everything around them as we begin to hear the Pixies' Where Is My Mind begin to play out in unison as the film ends. So, thoughts on this song, with or without the scene, however you want to do it.
In a lot of ways, I think it's difficult to separate from the film because I feel like, and this might be incorrect, but I think the fame of this song is from this film. I can't think that many people knew, because they were quite an underground band. I mean,
Incredibly.
And this song, but unbelievably, really, is from the late 80s. It doesn't sound like it at all, does it? But the song, I think, was from the 80s. That scene is very powerful, and I was reading the lyrics of the song and listening to it, and there is no point to it. There is literally no point to the song, and I was like looking for like deeper meaning. I'm sure people have as well. I mean, I don't know if you're going to be touching on this, Ben, but I'll just go into it. I've read a few interviews with the singer who's called Black Francis, I think his name is.
Yep.
Which is an interesting name itself.
Yeah.
And he even just like said, there is literally no point to it. It was just about there was a fish chasing me around the Caribbean Sea or something.
Yep.
And that is literally all. There's no point to it. But that kind of really fits with the kind of sort of weird, flat, almost flat ending of the film. I know, like I say flat, I mean, there's buildings exploding everywhere, but kind of you're left feeling a bit hollow at the end of the film in some ways. I mean, there's a little bit of hope, but there's a little bit of like, where really are we in this world kind of thing. And the sheer randomness and pointlessness of the song just really fits with that. And it's just like, well, are we any better off at the end of this film than we were at the beginning, kind of?
Yeah.
So I think it tonally just fits perfectly. And obviously it's a cool song. I mean, I think obviously it's become a bit of a hipster staple in the same way that the film has, but probably because the two things are connected. But
very much so.
Yeah. I do like the song.
Same, yeah, I'm definitely a fan of this song. But only ever really in passing until I finally watched Fight Club. I had basically had no idea of its connection to Fight Club, and it was not a song that I ever had on like an MP3 player or an iPod, playlist, anything like that. Kind of song to me where you hear it on the radio whilst you're driving and think, I'll add this to my Spotify playlist later, but then you forget to come back to it.
Yeah.
But there is something I do have to admit about this song. Until Ben, in our podcast group, said, let's do the Pixies song from Fight Club, I thought this was a Smashing Pumpkins song.
Oh, really? That's really interesting because Smashing Pumpkins often cite the Pixies as one of their main influences.
I'm not surprised. I sort of looked into it to see, is it just me? Because it can't just be me thinking, this sounds exactly like a Smashing Pumpkins song. So I typed it in. Like, if you put in Where Is My Mind and then press S, it automatically goes Smashing Pumpkins.
Really?
So clearly other people are on the same wavelength as me about this being a song by the Smashing Pumpkins. But there is one thing Alex said that I want to disagree with. When I hear this song, I do not think of Fight Club.
Yeah.
I think of All Elite Wrestling.
I knew you were going to say that.
Orange Cassidy's entrance music is this song, and that's what I associate with this song. You were going to make
the wrestling reference. I saw it on. Forget where now. I saw it on like a trivia, and I was like, someone's going to mention this. I'm not going to do it.
The thing is, though, I want to say, like, I don't necessarily think that this song reminds people of the film. I think the song is famous because of the film, and I think that guy, the wrestling guy, wouldn't have it as his theme song if it wasn't in this film. That's kind of
very
the point
possible. Yeah.
But no, I take your point. Like, because a lot of people probably don't know that the song is from the film, but it's been used in so many things referencing the fact that it was in this film that it's kind of almost taken on a world of its own by itself again.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was a song first, then it was in the film, then it had that whole film bit, and now it's kind of a song again, separate. But I think its fame and popularity came from this film, I should think.
I think you're probably right, yeah. And it is most likely that Orange Cassidy uses the song as a reference to the film. But because I see that more often, that's why I associate it with.
Yeah. I think Fight Club was the first reference use of this film, and it has been used a lot since, like in Mr. Robot. It's used, or like a sort of a simplified piano version. But for the same reasons, I think it is that it ends on like a rhetorical. I mean, the name "Where Is My Mind" I think helps because there's the dissociative identity element of the film of knowing, what happens now. The basically world is exploding around us. It is that kind of what next. And I think you're left with a lot of what's, and I guess the name of the song being a question, I think also helps that. And like Alex said, the lead singer, I think it was apparently he went scuba diving while he was at university, and the song's about that. And that's literally it. And the Pixies, I think, are quite famous. They are sort of your favourite band's favourite band. They're kind of that, the Velvet Underground.
Yeah.
Like, they never were huge themselves, but they're instrumental in how they influenced a lot of music following. There's kind of weird comments saying like they almost sound like influences that came before. So like they almost feel like they're at some point they're earlier than what everything else was coming out at the time, while also feeling a lot more modern because they enmeshed so many different styles. They're famous for, and I think this song encapsulates the best. They're famous for this like quiet, loud, quiet style. Like they just like the opening drum beat as like the explosions hit, and it's so loud. Then it goes really quiet, the song, and it kind of goes in like a weird flow. It never really seems to stick to a certain style. They're often cited as being quite poppy, surfer rock, grunge, heavy metal. You listen to some of their earlier stuff, they're all over the place, and the inspirations for the song, they'll have a song about incest, and then they'll have a song about just going to the shops, and then they'll have a song about a girl with brain damage, and then they'll have and it's just like just random inspirations, and I think that also helps it fit in with this film because it's just so all over the place.
Yeah. And
it's kind of like the film doesn't allow you at this point to gather your thoughts like it should at the end of a film. People want catharsis. Yeah. People want at the end of a book to be like, I think Chuck Palahniuk said this himself. People want at the end of a book to be like, okay, the detective's caught the killer. I've got, I know what everything's happened and close it and I feel release. Whereas at the end of Fight Club, you don't have any of that really. It feels like there should be something coming afterwards. And I'm glad there was never a Fight Club 2. There was anything else, finding out more adventures of Tyler Durden. But I really like how the song is used. But it was not famous before this. The Pixies did better over here than they did in the States, but they're not very famous, other than, like I say, Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, Radiohead, Arcade Fire. They're these bands' favourite band.
Yeah. And you can definitely hear that in all those bands, can't you? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain was like, Smells Like Teen Spirit was his attempt at making a Pixies song. He said he should have been in a Pixies tribute band, and he said loads of times how they were his band, which is quite interesting, really, because I don't necessarily hear the comparison or hear the similarities, but you'll just hear like a particular song by the Pixies and like, oh yeah, that sounds really grungy. And yet the next one will be just really light and poppy. They clearly just, were just doing what they felt like they wanted to do at the time and didn't really stick to any one thing.
I guess Smells Like Teen Spirit has that sort of stop-start
Yeah,
thing,
that's the thing he said was his inspiration, the quiet, loud, quiet sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which I guess, is kind of sticks out. Even in the grunge, it sticks out quite a lot. It's that slow, then really heavy sort of choruses sometimes, then really slow again. Do you know who David Fincher wanted first, before the Pixies?
Mm-hmm.
Aerosmith.
Loving and loving.
Is it like a similar band?
Yes, very. In fact, I think I just said them.
Arcade Fire.
Radiohead. You wanted to tell me?
Yeah, well, Radiohead is definitely inspired by the Pixies. You can hear it in all of the songs, I think.
Yes, definitely. I think Tom York said he just finished making OK Computer and he was too stressed out, so I didn't want to do anything. So yeah, he got the song. It was released in '88, so it's a whole 11 years until it came out.
Yeah,
and this song reached the highest it got to in the UK charts was 199 in 2014 of all times as well. So not in '88, not in '99, in 2014. And that might have been Mr. Robot, I don't know. But yeah, how weird is that?
It's weird that the charts go up that high, to be honest.
Maybe that's the Pixies just releasing that.
Nobody's going to check that.
No one is going to check that. Maybe, and yeah, 199 does sound quite cool. I feel like if it says 200, that's just ridiculous. But yeah, the rest of the movie doesn't have like spoken word songs. It's produced by the Dust Brothers. Have you heard of them?
No, but I like the name.
Yeah, they like producers on like Beastie Boys albums, Beck. They do like these very sort of scratchy electronic computerized sounds. You listen back, you can hear it like through and through because he wanted something to sound sort of like off kilter, and it really does work. And I forget what Edward Norton says to her. You've caught me at a weird point in my life or something.
Yes, he does say something like
and
that.
then they kind of hold hands and like, yeah, I think it's really perfect. Okay, top 5 time. As we've said, fairly famous twist, but I want to know what are, according to the internet, the greatest movie twists of all time.
Yikes. Spoiler alerts.
Yeah.
Spoiler
Lots of spoiler alerts in this, but hopefully for the greatest twists, you should know them.
Right, do you want to just dive straight in?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I'm guessing that The Sixth Sense will be number 1, right? I mean, that was
Yes,
like...
Sixth Sense is number 1, yes.
Well, I'm guessing that Darth Vader being Luke's father is probably there on that list too.
Yeah, number 2.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, good call,
Give you a clue, Fight Club is not in the top 10.
that. Oh, right.
Top 5. It was 6th. Well, I've aggregated various lists.
I mean, one twist I really like, but I'm not sure it'll be in the top 5, is the one in Shutter Island, although it possibly is predictable.
5th?
Is it? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, 5th.
The first Saw film,
No, but there was a lot saying Saw films, but yeah, it's a good shout.
Good shout there. Gone Girl?
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes.
Oh,
yes,
good.
very
I mean, Gone Girl's probably a bit too of a modern. I don't know. It's a good twist, though.
You're doing well. You're actually doing very well. One
So
more.
just one more. So where was Planet of the Apes 3rd?
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz.
This is quite a hard one. No, it's a
Shout.
it's a fairly modern film, and I don't think it's a famous film, but it has a very good twist.
Oh, The Fog or The Mist or something like that?
No, but that's still gone. You're destroying me inside by even mentioning that film. Oh god. But no.
Oh, God.
Came out in 2001.
Oh, Beautiful
It's,
Mind?
No.
Because that was a twist.
Yeah, it's a twist. Yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah.
What did twist?
Um,
Oh, is it another one of his?
No, it's
Not The Village.
It's a horror film. Beautiful Mind isn't M. Night Shyamalan.
No, but Sixth Sense, obviously. It's a horror film. Oh, The Cabin in the Woods? Is that what it's called?
Is that a twist?
Is that the one I'm thinking of? Where it turns out it's like a TV show?
Yeah, that is Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, and it's not that.
Spoiler.
2001 though.
Yeah, 2001. It's all Cabin in the Woods. It's much later than that. Horror film.
Final Destination.
Stars Nicole Kidman.
Oh, The Others.
Yes, The Others. Have you seen The Others, D?
I haven't, no.
Well, I'll spoil it for you.
Go on.
They're all dead.
What a twist.
Well,
It's a very good film, but they're all dead.
They're all dead.
Sorry, guys, if you're listening to this. But you don't know who they all are.
Oh. Every person in the film is dead.
we did really well
We
there.
did do better than I thought.
I'm happy with how it's gone.
So now it's time to figure out what is better, the movie or the song. So this week's Fight Club versus Where Is My Mind by the Pixies, or by the Smashing Pumpkins if you feel like that, or maybe even Radiohead. Alex, do you want to go first this week?
Yeah, it's a hard one, I think, this week, because I like both, but I don't love either. So there's not like a really obvious choice for me.
I'm in the same boat, to be honest.
Yeah, I think...
I was hoping you'd just make my mind up for me right now.
I think I am actually going to... We are a film podcast. I think I'm going to say film. We are a film music podcast. I think I'm actually going to go for film because I think it's kind of one of those cultural... It's kind of something that most people have seen and talk about. And I kind of like that about it. I know, like I was saying in the beginning, like some people maybe interpret it differently than possibly I would, or people hold it up as like this moniker of like great films that are really deep and talk about neo-truths and that nothing has ever spoken about before. But I do think it is a really good film still. Like, I don't want to take that away from it. And the song really does a great job of highlighting a lot of the malaise or the middling of the film at the end. But I think that's because of what the film had already helped build. And I think the song just kind of emphasizes it, which is what a great song and a great film does, or a good song and a good film in this case. But I think I'll go film. I know I've talked around in a loop there, but I'll go film.
What about you, Ben?
Yeah, I'd probably go film, but like I really like a song that ends a film. It's not a post-credit song, but it kind of goes into the credits. I think it's very cool if it's done that way because it's then a part of the film. It's not cheap when you just throw it in at the credits because it just doesn't count.
Don't say that. Half episodes are about songs.
No, they're not. They're not. No, they're not. But it does rule us out quite a lot. I mean, if we treated this as a Room 101, you get rid of this song. Do you still have all those amazing bands? Who knows? The Pixies have got other songs. Yeah, Fight Club.
Decision's been made for me there. Thank you. I think I probably echo that I would stick with the film. Obviously, I like the song because of things outside of the film, I guess. But yeah, I think you've got to go for the film. It is still good, even knowing the twists and main plot points. It still stands up as a film that you can enjoy, so I think you've got to go for that. Well, that brings an end to another episode of That Song from That Movie. Let us know on Twitter which one you think's better, the movie or the song. The poll will be up. Well, if you listen to this, it's either already up or it finished like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So Ben, what is our Twitter handle?
At TSFTM Pod.
Nice. So you can help the podcast in many ways. Sharing this on a random subreddit is one of those ways. Alex, what random subreddit should they use this week?
I mean, it's his greatest ever acting performance, so Meatloaf.
It's also Jared Leto's best ever acting performance.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not. Dallas Buyers Club.
Panic Room.
Suicide Squad.
Mr. Nobody.
Oh, shit, I forgot about that
It's a
film.
great film.
It's a great film. Wow, I need to go watch that film.
Requiem for a Dream is also good.
You can also help the podcast by joining our Patreon, leaving us reviews, or buying our merch. All the links are in our social media and in the show notes. So all's left now is to do some goodbyes. So it's goodbye from myself, goodbye, and goodbye from Alex.
If I had a tumour, I'd name it Ben.
And goodbye from Ben.
I think Panic... wait, I've got a pain in my chest. That was very badly timed.
Ben's having a heart attack live on the podcast.
I'm okay now. You can sign out with that.
Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Tentative bye.
That pain was fragrantly trapped. There's lots of stuff I could throw in. NASA used this song to wake up the team working on the Mars rover Spirit.
That's a good fact.